And we are live. Welcome back, everybody. And I say welcome back because I know you were just listening to one of our other podcasts here on the Podcaster Nation. So, welcome. This is the podcast that is about podcasters. It's for podcasters. And that's right, it's done by podcasters. And my guest today is a podcaster, among other things. She's also a time management expert. Okay, so let me, without any further ado, introduce this fantastic guest we have today, the host of the Unbusy Mom Podcast, which I've listened to several episodes. You guys got to catch it; it's great. And she does time management strategies for work-at-home moms. Please welcome Alyssa Wolff. How you doing, Alyssa?
Great. How are you today, Rory?
I don't know if I was any better. I'd be twins, but don't tell anybody that because I'm trying to keep it under wraps. Now, just so everybody knows, it's Alyssa with two S's and Wolff with two F's, right?
That is correct.
In case they're looking you up, because some of them are right now. They're checking, they're on Spotify, they're trying to find your podcast right this second. Alyssa, tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what your podcast is about, what you do. Go.
Sure. Well, my podcast is primarily to help moms who either seek to run an online business or are already in the throes of that, growing and scaling it. These moms probably need more hours to work on their business, need help prioritizing their time, and also being a mom and a business owner, they're probably struggling with mom guilt. So I help them establish a no guilt work-life balance so they feel like they're getting all the time with their kids that they need and they're hitting those goals and ambitions. And
Love
there are a
that.
lot of family routines that go into that, as you can imagine on the back end.
Right. Now, in the pre-interview, I have three kids, so I always just ask everybody when I'm getting to know them, how many kids do you have? And your answer to me was what again?
5.
You have five kids. Okay, so clearly, when you talk about time management for busy moms who are working at home, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I had the choice after 2 kids, like, should I stop here? Should I go for more? I'm like, I am not tapped out, let's go for more. And then after number 5, it's like, I'm really tired of getting up 3 times at night with a newborn. How about I do something else with my extra capacity, like start a business instead of having more kids? Plus, my husband was like, we can't fit any more in the van, honey, stop.
It's always the practical things, right? It's like,
Yes.
when we had our third, I was like, okay, now when we go out to eat, we're a table of five. We can't go out anymore because now there's only three tables of five in the whole restaurant. So we have a 45-minute wait anywhere we go now. This can't work.
Yes.
All right, that's awesome. So what led you, from having five kids and what's your background? Who were you and what led you into doing time management strategies?
I always intended to have some sort of career that would impact the world, but college was supposed to be where you figure that out, right? So I went to college, started my major in teaching. It's like, actually, this is definitely not for me. Switched, couldn't find anything I actually wanted to do. So I found the degree that would get me out the fastest because I'd met my husband by then. I was like, all right, I guess the career thing will have to come later. I will start on the raising a family thing. But it took like 13 years before I heard about online business. And finally, I was like, aha, that is the thing. I don't have to wait till all 5 of my kids are grown and gone to start doing something to help other people.
That's awesome. Are there any particular online businesses that either you work in or you recommend or anything like that?
Just the online content creation realm is really where I'm at. So podcasters, coaches, bloggers, whatever, if your business needs some sort of an online presence or you have some sort of flexible schedule, you either work fully from home, your office is next door to your house, you are at home a lot in between in your workday, that's the type of woman I specialize helping in.
Gotcha. Okay. And you deal exclusively in moms, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So dad's got to go find somebody else.
pretty much. You may as well stay in your own wheelhouse, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Stick with what you are an expert at and have all the firsthand knowledge of. So that's really cool. So then, all right, now you said you got the easiest degree that you could get, and I don't blame you. I think if I was gonna, do that today, I would do the exact same thing. It'd be like, what, general studies or something, or PA or whatever I could, find my way through. Did any of that schooling have the time management stuff, or is this stuff that you've learned on your own through trial and error, over the years?
I think it's more what I learned on my own. Now, when I say got the easiest degree I could, I mean I crammed a 4-year college degree into 2.5 years to get done faster.
Okay. All right. Wow. Jeez. You want it out bad. I mean, that's a ton of work. Holy cow.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
what is that, like 22 to 24 hours a semester or something nuts?
I did a lot of summer classes, dual enrollment ahead of time, but yes, the last semester was 21 hours.
Okay. Yeah. See, that kind of efficiency, I'm not sure I can get on board with. So that's
Well, the
because
thing was, I didn't feel like I was too busy. I could still like do something other than homework in the evening before going
wow.
to bed. So,
Wow. And did you have any kids at that point yet, or you hadn't started
no,
that
no,
yet?
that was pre getting married.
That
So,
was
all I was
after.
handling was wedding planning.
Gotcha. 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 All right. And so now, I mean, obviously, when you're talking about time management, you've lived it, you've learned it, because of the five kids and so on. So, what are some of the best that you can give away without giving away the farm? Because I know you're a coach and you don't want to necessarily like give away your course or anything, but what are a couple of tips for folks, that have multiple kids and are trying to get settled? Anything you want to share?
Sure. First thing is probably if there's something bugging you about your day, just recognize you're allowed to change it. I don't care if it's the kids' bedtime routines or the fact that your current meals are taking way too long to cook, or their playtime isn't going well, or you're sending them to a school that's too far away. You're allowed to say, you know what, I really hate this part of my day. What are five out of the box things I could do to change it? And you do not have to pick any of those, but giving yourself the freedom to think about what your day would look with it being different, you will usually find, oh, wait, I just wasn't doing this because I thought my husband would hate it. I thought the kids would be mad at me if I didn't serve mac and cheese every single week without pickle. That kind of a thing. It's a lot to do with mental permission and not staying in the same rut.
Do you find that's a tough thing then? I mean, people kind of get into their groove, and now is the permission. Because I heard a couple of the other podcasts where you were talking about, like, stop thinking about what the neighbors think and stuff like that. Do you feel like the permission is you as a mom giving yourself that permission because of your own expectation, or do you think it's more like what the expectation is from the outside looking in on you being a mom? I'm just curious.
Great question. And I think it's both because we have our own ingrained ideas, but we're also so fearful of what we think other people would say. And sometimes that's not even true. And if it is, well, did you actually want to live for their opinion? And this is your life, your kids, your business if you have a business. Who says it has to look the way they think?
That's interesting. Why do moms have that such a why are moms so worried about letting themselves down like that? Like, going against what they think they need to be doing. Where's that come from? Any idea?
I think it's something to do wrapped up with the parenting story of how do you be a good mother? You pour everything into your kids. How often have you heard a woman say, my kids are my life?
Oh yeah. Yeah, my wife did the same thing. She was a stay-at-home mom for a very long time, and I give her all the credit for why I have such great kids, frankly. So if that component had been missing, I think it would have impacted my kids greatly. So I
Mhm.
applaud the heck out of you for what you're doing. That's magnificent. And then on top of everything else, you found a way to start your own business too, doing this. So I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you for indulging my dadness coming in from
Oh,
the
you're
sideline
welcome.
and asking. But okay, now in terms of what your business is, okay, I know you have the podcast, and from what I've heard, that's very educational and informative. So I'm getting the idea that the podcast is like the tool to um, open the doors, get people thinking about it, and say, hey, maybe I do need help with this, and then they contact you. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. She just said, yes, that's it. All right. Love it. And then when they do contact you, then you've got other programs, other things. I mean, I've seen your landing page, your website, stuff like that. Tell folks what it is you offer. Once somebody has listened to your podcast or come up with the idea that maybe they want to get some help, what are they going to expect when they come talk to, Alyssa?
A lot of the times, what I like to do is offer a free coaching session first because maybe you've listened to a bunch of episodes. You're like, okay, maybe productivity would really help me here, but I have no clue what coaching is like, or I don't know what I'm going to get out of this. Is this just some kind of high-priced therapy session? Like, what is actually going to go on here? What's my ROI? So I like to offer everyone a free session. We will look at if you're a business owner, like your schedule, how are your work hours, and more importantly, what do you think about your work hours? because it's about that permission and expectation piece. Maybe you're the mom who's like, I need to only work 10 hours a week because I've got a bunch of kids with special needs. We have appointments. I cannot handle any more, but my family needs the money. That's a very different set of hacks I'm going to give you than if you're someone who's like, I would love to be working 35 hours a week while my two kids are in school. I just feel like I shouldn't. And I think I should be crafting somehow Pinteresting at home all day while they're gone. And you're feeling guilty about that.
Nice. Okay, good deal. So your programs are they're not set in stone, they're tailored to the individual person.
Yes, I have a core curriculum I run everyone through. Mindset, strategy, delegation, scheduling, all that for both the mom life, personal family side, and then applying all those things to the business side. But beyond that, everyone comes to their sessions, everyone gets their daily coaching support based on what is of the moment for them right now.
Nice. Okay. Um, now, let's see. I know that you told me earlier that you do all this without a smartphone. I'm still sort of floored by that. I know you can do it all on a laptop, but I'm just curious, is there a reason for that? Are you against having a smartphone or something? And I'd love to hear that reasoning.
Well, number one, I'm lazy. I don't want to haul a purse everywhere. So, in my opinion, phones are supposed to be pocketable.
Okay,
And then
there's
number
that.
two, I'm not really sure I can have all the credit for being off screen, so to speak. When people here don't have a smartphone, that's kind of what you think. I'm like, I have a computer, I'm on the computer 6 or 7 hours a day. Just because it's a giant screen, I'm sitting on a chair in front of it. So
Okay. So does the computer, the laptop, does that make it easier to work through, say, your website or your clients? Or I mean, because you seem to have a preference for that. I'm curious.
I feel like it is. At least I cannot imagine dealing with the back end of a website on a phone screen.
Uh,
But yes, it is because primarily I can set my own work time hours and boundaries. I feel like a lot more easily with a whole, here is the computer, is it turned on, is it not? Am I at the computer or am I not? Do my kids need something? Do I need to shut the monitor down so it's not distracting me and go sit somewhere else in the living room or kitchen and help them with their homeschooling? It just makes it a lot more clear for me. And then I didn't really learn how to text properly with my thumbs, so I just can't imagine working off of a phone, quote unquote. I'm like, I need a proper keyboard.
all right. Now you just dropped a bomb in there that I think everybody just caught. On top of having five kids at home and running your own business and helping all the other busy moms that are out there, you're homeschooling all of them.
Yes, yes.
You're homeschooling five kids, five different ages. So I
As
mean,
efficiently as possible.
there's a lot of different curriculum in that spread of ages for homeschooling.
There was, and about 2 years ago, I found a new upgraded curriculum that I could get multiple people using at different levels that involved less time grading from me, more supervising. So again, I'm efficientizing my own life
I was going to
too.
say, so yeah, you made it more efficient. That doesn't surprise me at all. Okay, that's what you do. My goodness gracious. I mean, I applaud you for homeschooling. That's fantastic. But wow, the amount of time that's got to take you in your day. That's flooring. And five kids. So I'm repeating myself now. I apologize. You just look at me like, yeah.
Well,
So
this semester is more homeschooling wise because I've got a couple high schoolers, so we're dealing with all the college prep. And that meant and they had to come off of the independent study and do a little bit more of let's have skill and career discussions with mommy and where do we need to take you for community college and what is the back end paperwork that I get to deal with so that you can
uh-huh.
go and things like that. But the younger ones, so I'm really more like, how about the 3 R's? None of this extracurricular stuff. You learn to read, you can go practice your printing. Let's get you doing math. Go play the rest of the day. It's good for you.
Nice. That's so crazy. Okay. All right. Let's talk about your potential clients, so to speak, in terms of the people you're speaking to in your business, in your podcast. Um, what should a mom be be feeling, be thinking, in order to kind of be ready for working with you? You know, I mean, is it just like I'm too busy and I don't have enough? I mean, in your working with your clients, when is someone really in need of your services?
Both when they say I'm too busy and when they are ready to do something about it. If all you want to do is whine that your life is difficult and there's so many reasons why you can't do anything, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to help because you just said everything is a sacred cow. I'm not allowed to cut anything from your schedule.
Wow. Okay. So they need to be ready. They got to be ready to be helped. In order to be
Yes.
ready to be helped, do they need to be able to make change, eliminate some things? I mean, what are some qualifications that you're
That's
looking
typically what
for?
it comes down to. You have to be willing to do something new, and whether that means it's a different way of structuring your day or your work hours, or being challenged in your thinking about what it means to be a good mom. And yes, most of the time it's going to involve cutting something. Sometimes that's a huge relief. Oh, finally have the excuse to quit going to this. And sometimes that's a I'm not really comfortable, but I can see I don't have the time, not if I'm going to work out and eat healthy and sleep. And then you have to do even more mindset work to help her get comfortable with that, to understand she has finite energy reserves, like we're not robots. So you do have to think about the personal upkeep part of your life in addition.
Sure. Do you find resistance from moms on that kind of thing, wanting to cut stuff out? I mean, a lot of the moms I know basically are either deathly afraid of that kind of thing because, like, don't take one of these balls I'm juggling, or I'm going to drop them all, or there's a pride issue, like, no, I can handle it. Who are you saying, who are you to tell me I can't handle it, type of thing.
They often fall into two camps. The one camp is the mom who's earning enough money. She's like, oh, it would really help if I didn't have to do this. I guess I could hire someone to do this for me. And that's permission they weren't giving themselves. It's that outside coaching perspective you're probably familiar with. Someone else looks at your situation and says, why haven't you done X, Y, and Z? You're like, oh, I have no idea why I didn't. I'm going to go do that right now. Thank you. And the other kind of mom is sitting there usually going, what you're asking is a lot. I don't know if I want to stop staying up late and burning the candle at both ends. Like, well, okay, let's play the five whys exercise. Why don't you want to turn in and go to bed early? Well, I won't get everything done. Why won't you get everything done? My kids need me to help with their homework for this. Why are you the one doing the homework help at 11 p.m. at night? Well, because they didn't ask me earlier. Why didn't they ask me earlier? Because I never gave them a deadline. Why? I thought I would be a bad mom if I ever said that I was not available 24 hours a day to them. Now we can work with that.
That's interesting. The five whys. So you just keep drilling down on why
Yes.
and then why and then why. I mean, I've heard that. I think I've heard that in a different way, but I like that one. I like that method, the five whys. So interesting. So you're dealing with moms now. In terms of who you have worked with and who you are, looking to work with, because you're building a business. I mean, you have one, but you're still building it. And are you focused more? I don't want to see you end up with more because that's such a passive mentality, and you're definitely assertively building everything and teaching people things. So, do you have in your business more moms that are wanting to start a business and haven't yet, or moms who have some kind of online business and they're either having trouble with it or they can't get to the next level?
I think most of them already have the business. So
Okay,
they typically segregate into having trouble really getting it off the ground or the established, agency owner, service provider, whatever, who's doing well and is running into that, I am way too busy, I need two of me.
I see. Okay, great, great. Now you've been doing the podcast for quite a while. It sounds like. And how long have you been doing the podcast? As long as you've been doing the business?
Yes and no. I only started the podcast 2 years after the business, but I went back and put up all the episodes from the blog posts that I had done in those first 2 years. So you get the full 4 years of episodes.
I see. So 4 years is how long you've been running your business. And then you went and backlogged and backloaded and kind of
Yes.
filled everything up. That's cool. All right. So when you launched, you had plenty of content, in other words. Right on. All right. And then how often do you release your podcast?
This year I'm doing it 3 times a week. I think next year I'll back down to two to not overwhelm people, but I have so many ideas.
So this isn't necessarily a solid answer. You might change the whole thing.
Yes.
All right. And I'm right on. You reserve the right to do that. Okay, that's cool. Now you run a short form podcast. It's they're shorter episodes, easily digestible. You can grab them pretty much anytime. So they're very convenient. And I've had several different types of podcasts over the years. I've run it all different ways. I've done it like, 8 to 8 minute shots. I've done it hour and a half long form where you got to like stop in the middle of the interview and come back later when you get back in the car, type of thing. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. But is that for efficiency's sake or is that part of a marketing plan?
It's neither. It's I can't make myself talk that long.
Oh my gosh. Okay. At
I
least
feel
you're
like
honest.
I'm done saying what I wanted to say about the topic, and if I kept talking, I would feel like I would ramble. So I'm just like, all right, my listeners will have to deal with it. And then I heard that moms love it because they never have to figure out where they're going to fit the rest of the episode in. They're like, boom, done.
Right. I mean, and mom's kind of like that. If you're a busy mom and you have a few minutes, that's what you have is a few minutes. So that's great. All right. Now, why, in terms of spreading the word for your business, getting people interested, sort of sparking that fire to say, hey, call me for more. Why podcasting?
Great question, because I started with a blog. Coming from the course world, I heard just pick anything as long as it's long form content, do something. But my audience said, we are moms. We do not have the brain space to read anymore. Also, do not give us YouTube videos because our the screen will go black and then it will quit playing for us. What we want is a podcast episode. So if we are on a walk with the kids or doing laundry or washing dishes, we can pop in our earbuds and listen, and the audio content can just keep playing. We don't have to do anything, it's hands-free. That's why it took me 2 years. I knew about it from the get-go. I was like, I like writing, I'm not switching. And then it was like, all right, I will switch.
So you literally heard from your target audience, this is what we prefer, and you
Yes,
accommodated that.
yes.
That's brilliant. Okay, way to go. Very, very cool. All right, when you got into podcasting, especially coming from blogging, was it a difficult transition? Did you need to buy a whole bunch of equipment? What was your transition like?
I feel like I had a very easy transition because I had been trying to do too many things in terms of blogging and YouTube and all that. I had all my audios already. I just needed to strip them out of the video. That is the real reason why I backlogged everything. I didn't actually spend weeks recording
Okay.
past episodes. So for me, I just used the computer speakers at first till my husband, the tech guy, was like, honey, this is awful. And then I got one of those $100 mics, best of in category. And that was kind of that as far as equipment went.
Okay. And so you used the mic that you purchased, you used your laptop that you had.
Yep.
And as far as headphones or anything like that, it looks like you're using an earbud or something.
Yes, I have earbuds. I had them already. So I felt like it was very little gear.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So easy changeover. Love that. I'm a huge advocate on don't spend a ton of money. Don't buy the synthesizer boards and everything else. I just get started. So now, when you started, were you doing 3 times a week?
I don't think so. I think I did once a week at the very beginning, and then probably a year into it, I shifted to 3 times a week.
Okay, and now you're considering cutting it back possibly to the two.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. I love that too, because people think like, oh, I started it this way. And when I set up my podcast and all the other platforms, it says weekly or, bi-weekly or whatever it says. It's important to let people know. It's kind of like what you said earlier about moms. You can tell podcasters the exact same thing. It's okay to change. It's okay to do it different. Try it and say, this works, this doesn't, and then actually change. Nobody's judging you for, only doing once a week. Nobody's judging you for doing 3 times a week and cutting it to two. It's like, it's what you've got to do for yourself and your audience. So when you first came out once a week, was it just to get more information out? What made you jump to three?
It was because I was trying to dial in more on the marketing side of the business. This is not, here's my one blog article in audio form once a week. It's, if this is how I get people hearing about time management and coaching and how it can change their lives for better, what else do they need to be hearing? What about a motivation shot? What about a client success story? Things other than me teaching them something. So, like, all right, I'll just add more episode types then.
Nice. When you do your podcast, do you script out your podcast?
I do. That's my writing holdover. Everything comes out of me in written form. So, as long as I put in notes in my script for how I want my voice and tone to sound, which I was having to edit out anyways for the blog, it's like, okay, this works. I'm not actually adding any extra steps in per se, except the recorded. But I can still use my natural way of content creation
Sure.
and avoid rambling.
Good deal. And please don't take that the wrong way. It's certainly not criticism or anything. I've been doing this a very long time. I'm an old guy who's been in podcasting forever. So when I listened to your podcast, I wasn't sure. And I was like, oh, I wonder if she's scripting or not. And there were moments where I thought that you were, and moments where I really thought you weren't. And so, I mean, you're doing a good job with your voice inflection, things like that, because I couldn't necessarily pick it out. But then when you mentioned that about blogging, and I was like, I wonder, and I wanted to go back to that question. So I appreciate you indulging me there. But a lot of people write out their podcasts, and a lot of people just don't, and they just go wing it. For you, that's much more comfortable, though, it seems like, to have it written out and then just adjust. Is that correct?
It is. I have never been good at thinking on my feet without a pre-prepared set of things. And the content that comes out often feels like it's in a different place when I write it, almost like the alter ego, wiser self kind of wrote it. So I feel like it gives my listeners a deeper look into productivity, transformation, and tips, things I might not be brave enough to say if I was just like, click on the mic and let's hope I say something.
Okay, I love that answer. I didn't know we were going to get that answer, but I love it because you're still that's your way of being authentic. Because in your writing, you find that you're the most authentic that way. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, it is.
That's that's very unique, and that's awesome. I love that. Some people write it out because they want it to be perfect, and there may be some of that in you. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, but that's your authentic self in the writing, and then you're transforming it over to the podcast, which is great. Beautiful. All right, wonderful. All right. Wow. So we covered that. Let me ask you this. This is one of my, I guess it's my corny question I ask everybody. So, what is, when it comes to, your podcasting, for your business, using your podcast with your business, the whole 9 yards, how you use it. When it comes to that, what's the thing you love the most about doing the podcast with your business? And I know it's a strong word, but what's the thing you hate or dislike the most about doing your podcast with your business?
I think the thing I love most is I can opt out of the social media hustle because most other moms I see running a business, they've got the smartphone, they're doing B-roll, they're on their stories, reels, whatever. I don't even really know what the difference between stories and reels is because I don't have to. They're doing this multiple times a day, and to me, this sounds so stressful. Now I need to learn photography, I need to learn film, I need to learn all these different kinds of things. And poof, that one's gone. Now I need some more posts. So podcasting lets me avoid that completely. So it's the best of the blogging. Here is your repository of articles that everyone can go back to. And yet it's not that it's less professional, but it's less edited in a way than you must have the perfect looking blog post with the right quotes and the right pretty pictures and just the right amount of white space, but not too much. All of that. It's just audio. You kind of forget about the visual. So I think it's a simpler way of creating content for your business, and I love that.
Nice. All right, now the other side.
Hate is kind of tough. I mean, I don't necessarily like it that my voice and my energy will run out. Then I'll be like, shoot, now I've got to ask the kids to be quiet a different day because I wanted to get it all done in one go. But I think that's a personal quirk. I don't even think I'd escalate that to the level of hate.
Well, I mean, if your answer is I don't hate anything about podcasting, that's a great answer, and it's the first time I've gotten it since we started
Oh,
this little
wow.
project. So, anything that you dislike other than running out of energy?
I don't think so, no.
That's awesome. All right. I mean, you're very unique. You are a unique person on this particular show, and I hope you're proud of that because that's really cool. I'm hearing all kinds of new stuff. When people give me their answers as to what they love the most, what they hate the most, there isn't one solid thing. I mean, we get a big array of answers from this side to that side and things that they do and they dislike. But no one has ever said to me, there's nothing I hate about podcasting. So I think in retrospect, you'd hope you would have gotten that answer before now, but it's not for everybody. It can be difficult, and it sounds like you're just having a really good time doing this.
I am, yes.
You are. All right, it's beautiful. All right, now you do soliloquy episodes. You do single voice yourself episodes as opposed to interviews. Have you ever done interviews, or is that just not something that you do on your podcast?
I do have interviews. Most of them are from last year, and I'm going to be posting some more this month. But I realize what I like to listen to is primarily the unique perspective of that content creator, as opposed to whatever guests they were bringing on. So I prefer the podcasts that are either all guests, like that's the entire point, or all soliloquy. So I decided, all right, that means a focus of mine should probably be soliloquy because I'm trying to give them productivity transformation. I'm not trying to find guest after guest after guest after guest to speak on productivity for them.
Nice. All right. Everybody has their own, which is cool. I didn't look back on your podcast far enough. I apologize. I'm going to have to increase my research skills on that one. But all right. I have one final question for you, and I just can't wait to see what answer I get on this because the other ones have been pretty unique, which is really cool. Um, I always ask everybody, for a podcaster who's starting off, whatever their niche might be, someone who's starting off or they've maybe put in the first 10, that type of thing. They want to make that move from I don't know if I want to do it to yes, I want to do it. Now what? You know, what's your best piece of advice for those people?
Just think of it as a conversation with a friend. You happen to be hitting record, but imagine that the person you're talking to is right there with you and let the humor out. Let the way you would normally phrase it out instead of the more buttoned up professional, I don't know, this is probably the way I should say it. Forget what your script said. If you don't need a script, skip it. Some of us do, but if you don't, just forget it. This is what your listeners want to hear. They want to hear it as if you had a coffee in your hand with them and you were talking animatedly about your current topic of interest, the specific nuance, why you're doing it. They want that inside look at you. And then don't stress out about the deadlines. Batch ahead. And by batching, I just mean make sure you record it ahead. Like, don't give yourself the full, gotta record, now I've got to get the audio. Now I have to edit in. Da, 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 da. Just record the episode. You can fit in the editing later. Just always make sure you're ahead. So you never feel like it's one more ball you have to decide whether you're going to keep in the air this week. It's no, 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 I've got a content bank. This is great. Let me just polish it up and put it out. Take that pressure off of yourself. Like the decision is already there because the episode is already there. All you have to do is edit and publish.
Nice. Very nice. All right. Is there anything in my limited knowledge of being efficient, because I might be one of the most inefficient guys on the planet, um, is there anything about your business, about you, that I did not ask you, that we did not bring out today, that you want to make sure everybody knows about Alyssa Wolff?
I think you've been very thorough. But the humorous version is I got so efficient tweaking my own schedule, I cannot wait for someone else to let me play with theirs.
I love your attitude. Okay, that's great. All right, so it's Alyssa with two S's and Wolff with two F's. Alyssa Wolff, the host of the Unbusy Mom Podcast, time management strategies for work-at-home moms. Alyssa, you've been a delight, and you've given me some really unique answers. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
You got it. Folks, this has been another episode of The Podcaster Nation. The episode, the show that is about podcasters It's for podcasters. It's done by podcasters. Folks, this is the episode. This is the show where the rising tide raises all ships. Keep sailing. We will talk to you soon.